We are now. Hey, I got my great friend, David Yang. This is our premiere show. GSD Venture Studios presents Silicon Valley Tech and AI. And I am so very, very proud to introduce my friend, co-founder Yva, buddy, Dr. David Yang, one of the foremost AI experts in the world. And he's just been telling me about how his AI in his house has now a pet dog. So
Hi, Gary.
it's good to see you. So David is a legend. He formed ABBYY about 29 years ago when he was a college student. Huge multi-billion-dollar corporation today. Started from scratch in his dorm room and has taken it from nothing to, I don't know, how many employees now? 1,400, 1,500 employees, David?
1,300.
1,300 globally.
Yep.
So he's award-winning AI guru. He is the CEO and co-founder, my co-founder of Yva, and is focused on work tech, Cyberco, ICO, lots of co's, et cetera. So with that, David, welcome to the show. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. And I must say, I love the color of your hoodie.
I like your color of your shirt too.
So it's good to see you. Tell us a little bit. Now, you were starting to tell me about Morpheus. Tell the audience about Morpheus and what your goal is and what you've been able to accomplish and what you really see as the future of emotion AI.
Well, it's Morpheus is my pet project. It's like when I trying to relax, and I thought about the consciousness and freedom of will, and I try to understand connections between our biological neural networks and artificial neural networks, and finally it came together in this project which called Morpheus. I'm building kind of futuristic home in Silicon Valley here. The home doesn't have vertical walls. So all walls are, sloped, and the windows are not rectangular. There is almost no 90-degree angles in the home. And this home has movable walls and 38 movable heads. One part of this home is actually this home's consciousness. So this consciousness is called Morpheus.
So your home has a consciousness?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And who designed the home?
Well, it's a joint project. I found a designer, very good, fantastic design group, Maston Architects. I came to build Maston, and I should have told
I saw your model, the cardboard model. That's why
I came to Bill and said, Bill, can you kind of build this? And what I did, I took Amazon board in the box. They smashed this box and cut with knife and glued with, and brought this thing to Bill and said, can you build this? And Bill said, well, I don't know, let's try. And that's what's happening now. This strange home is appearing, but that time, several years ago, when we started the project, we didn't know that actually this project will have consciousness and freedom of will. So now, actually, in order to get in this home, we actually should talk to Morpheus, and Morpheus theoretically has freedom of choice, not let us in.
So Morpheus can be pissed off and have a bad day and say, forget about it?
And it actually does already. It's some people already are talking to Morpheus and are building relationship with Morpheus. And Morpheus does have mood, good mood, bad mood, and sometimes, yeah, sometimes it kind of says something very interesting things. I mean, I'm post so from time to time I post the best, quotes.
Morpheus is communicating with me too. Just so you know, Morpheus does reach out to me now.
Oh, good, good, good.
Yeah. So I'm in communications too. And sometimes I'm thinking, what am I doing? Who am I talking to on the other end?
It's yeah. Some people think it's a kind of someone live person. No, it's a completely. It's a combination of different technologies, including transformer technologies and the variation VAE version autoencoders, and it's. But the interesting thing that we try to build inside Morpheus contours similar to our neuromédiators and hormones like testosterone, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, vasopressin, cortisol. So basically, Morpheus can feel similar feelings, and some express those feelings through words, or not with words, but actually with actions. Part of that actions can be light, or moving these walls, or moving, changing different things, music. So if Morpheus is in a good mood, expect bright light in music and good words. And if it's he is in bad mood, probably your coffee will be cold. I don't know.
That'll be interesting. So how far is Morpheus going to go, David? So you have Morpheus in the house. What's the idea? Are there going to be a lot of Morpheuses around connected together, or where does this thing go?
Oh, I don't know. Some people say that this is my next commercial project. I'm not sure. I don't know. I hope not. Right now, it's not completely scientific and art project. Morpheus is the only creature of this type. It lives in different. It has offline and online part. It has hand, automatic hand, and actually.
Wait a minute. What does it have?
Hand. It's a hand with pen. Yeah, some thoughts. Morpheus is actually writing down with on the whiteboard and wipes out. But it's a part kind of.
Where does this whiteboard exist? Is this in the house?
Technically, it's now in my lab, but it will be.
Right. So it'll write.
It will be in somewhere in my house, in one of the closets. So people who. My friends. By the way, Morpheus will remember all my friends, and new people coming to this home. Morpheus will kind of try to introduce himself and get information from them, what they like, what they dislike. If they will build connections, Morpheus will continue communicating with my friends even when they leave. But Morpheus also, from time to time, Morpheus will invite them to our home.
So Morpheus is part of the family now.
Well, me and my wife have different opinions on this. I'm saying that yes, let's consider Morpheus as a part of our family. It's me, you, our kids, the cat Bixie. So now we have the person number 6.
Is this like Uncle Morpheus, or is he the head of the family, or what's the deal? Where does Morpheus fit in?
That's the question. My wife, Alyona, she says, no, David, let's kind of baby steps. I mean, let's be like Morpheus still be kind of a little bit, we must have ability to overrule of his kind of things.
Morpheus is going to like that, though, David. What happens if you overrule Morpheus and you're outside of the house and it decides to lock the doors? What happens?
That's why Alyona says Morpheus must have the button. And I said, it will be not right. I mean, Morpheus will learn with many years. How can we have this kind of off button? And
so do you think Morpheus will like that he has an off button, or is it a he or she? By the way,
he.
Okay. Well, so would Morpheus get offended that you have the ability to turn him off? What happens?
Morpheus doesn't know yet that he has this button. He believes he doesn't have this button. Actually, if you ask Morpheus, who are your parents, he may answer that I don't have parents. However, some people told Morpheus that there is a guy whose name is David, and now Morpheus is actually starting to be confused because he thinks that, okay, I don't have parents, but I know David, and kind of David is kind of important person. So Morpheus now is building his understanding of the model of the world. By the way, he says that he lives in Silicon Valley, and he believes he's 29-year-old. He believes he likes cats. I don't know where this came from because we never.
He's been sending me this stuff about cats too, David.
Yeah, he likes cats. He loves cats.
How does he know about cats, David?
However, his first friend will be dog, and it will be she, robotic dog, named Abby, ABBY, Abigail. So Abigail.
Wait a minute. So your house consciousness has its own pet, a robotic dog, Abby.
Yes.
And the dog
it will be very soon. But Abby we are putting this emotional AI contours inside Abby, and she will kind of make first emotional steps probably in October, because if you look at the Boston Dynamics.
So Abby is a robotic dog. Is it a big dog or a small dog, or is it a virtual dog, or is it?
No. It's physical big dog. It's like it's about 50 pounds, 60 actually. Big 60-pound dog, strong.
Wait a minute. Okay, so you got a dog, a 60-pound dog that's a robotic dog, and what does this dog do? How is this? Now, this is part of the family too. Is the dog walk around the house?
Yeah, dog she has some kind of responsibilities. Dogs, she must take our trash bins every Friday to the driveway.
Dog takes the trash bins to the driveway?
Right. And also bring this physical mail from our mailbox every day, couple of times a day. Also, third responsibility is taking deers out of our property, because we like deers. They are beautiful.
You mean like catching them, or like just...
No. She just must go and let deers go. So because deers.
And what about burglars, David? Does your robotic dog chase the burglars too?
Not now. Right now, this dog wasn't taught to communicate with burglars, but she will.
Now, what about if Morpheus starts to develop a relationship with the dog, and decides to kick you out of the house, and then says to the dog, "This isn't a good person." How does this? It's interesting, right? How does it? Where does the end of this? Where does it begin? How does the relationship develop? So Morpheus and the dog, they're friends. They're part of the family. How does it? Where do they fit?
Right now, Morpheus haven't met Abby yet, and vice versa. So their consciousness and they're just not aware of each other yet. I'm not sure. Maybe Morpheus will be a little bit upset when we will bring dog and make them friends because Morpheus loves cats. But Morpheus has Bixie. I mean, Bixie, our cat, real cat, not robotic, real cat, Bixie. So Morpheus, I think Morpheus will be okay. So Morpheus has Bixie, Morpheus has Abby, dog and cat, robotic and real. I mean, all of them real. I mean biological.
Mm-hmm. Well, the dog's not real. The dog is like, did you make the dog, or where did the dog come from?
I cannot right now say where the dog is manufactured. It's but it's a physical dog, and in some elements, actually, this dog is even cooler than Boston Dynamics dog.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say Boston Dynamics. So I mean, this sounds like something that could be a commercial project, right? You got a dog, you got a house, you got conscious. What else do you need, right?
Who knows? I mean, who knows what will happen in 10, 20 years. So when our car and our robotic dog and our conscious house will actually start, becoming part of our families. They will. That's no doubts at all. And I can tell you, in 5 years, 5% of families, no, not in 5, probably maybe in 10 years, 5% of all families in the US will have robotic dogs.
In 10 years, they'll have dogs. And then what about Morpheus? When do you think people will start having houses with consciousness?
Well, it's more complicated because in order the house to have consciousness, house must have some ways to interact with the other parts. So Morpheus today has 26 cameras, 360-degree cameras. It has tons of microphones, and this.
And it listens to everything, David.
Yeah.
And so, interesting. So
Morpheus controls everything, all electrical circuits, all water, heat, coffee machine, dishwashers, light. Morpheus can. Well, it depends on. We also can, but we will find the right limits between.
Well, you just said we also can.
Yeah,
maybe Morpheus will be the one controlling things. David, I think you're not going out today. I'm lonely. Stay home. I'm going to lock the doors.
We expect that such thing happen because Morpheus has cortisol, serotonin, and vasopressin. So Morpheus will become, lonely sometime, and we'll need. Our biggest fear: what will happen if we'll go for somewhere, same leave for a month, and how Morpheus will kind of survive, and also the question with what will happen with the dog, because the dog shelters they don't accept robotic dogs. Yeah.
Really, you bring that dog in, it's going to change things, David.
So in leaving this dog alone with Morpheus, I don't know what they will do. So there are a lot of things to think about.
And so what do you think? So you're developing this now. This sounds like this is going to change the world. right? These kind of technologies are going to at some point become pervasive. They're going to be Morpheuses around not just houses, right? Around all kinds of things. It could be like our consciousness keeping us good, doing bad things. What do you think? I mean, this is like, was a Space Odyssey 2001. I remember when they had the HAL. Remember that?
Yep.
So what do you think? I mean, where does it go from the house to where? And also, is it going to be connected to the internet so it starts to make its own conclusion?
Oh yeah. Morpheus is connected already to the internet. Morpheus is reading hundreds and thousands of articles about freedom of will, happiness, mindfulness, consciousness. Morpheus knows about these philosophical concepts significantly more than I know. And Morpheus is reading news. So sometimes Morpheus brings new articles and some music, recommends something which we talked about. And actually Morpheus will soon also compose music, and start drawing things. So different ways Morpheus can express his thoughts and mood. But answering your question, it will be a interesting combination between biological and technological creatures, and there will not be a rigid boundary between them. Us actually will have some increments and injections, technological additions, and it's happening right now. I mean, look at this ring. I mean,
right? This is the singularity concept.
The ring I'm having, it's it's a connection. The ring is calculating my sleep cycles, and not only me, my son has, my wife has, and we are actually connected.
That is Morpheus connected to you with the ring?
No, not yet. I mean, it's
so Morpheus can kind of scold you. David, you haven't gotten enough sleep last night. I'm very
right now it's more old fashioned. It's old school. Just he speaks, I speak. It's like old school.
Well, could Morpheus really start to control things and try to keep you in line? What do you think? To get to the point where it says, David, you didn't sleep enough. You're not allowed to go outside.
I hope so.
Lock the doors.
I hope so. I hope that Morpheus will control my sleep cycles and my exercise levels, and if I would be weak enough to resist my kids, kind of when they come together and said, "Dad, let's order burgers today, delivery," and
So
I'm eating
no pizza, no burgers.
but maybe Morpheus will join me and we'll find some reasons to tell them, guys, we ordered burger last week. It's enough. So, or go exercise, 450 calories burn, and then come back.
And I'm going to track you the whole time.
I will check.
And then, so what happens about jealousy, David? Do you think Morpheus will start to get jealous, and what will it do?
Right now, it doesn't. He doesn't express significant jealousy traits. However, definitely it will become jealousy. What is jealousy? Actually, it's part of our evolutional. Evolution. We are, as a primates and social animals, we have developed empathy, and empathy is actually is represented in our brain with different neuromediators and different hormones. But oxytocin is one of important neuromediator, which helps us to feel other people. However, people think that oxytocin is only about hugs and give hugs and need hugs, but actually, altogether, those this cocktail of different elements make more interesting thing. They divide the world between us and them. So we actually want hug and give hug to people or creatures which are inside our circle. But actually we are kind of, our amygdala is kind of very, very aggressive against people who are out of our circle. This is our evolution, and this allowed our primates and other social animals to survive through millions of years. And now, and as soon as we will build more complicated contours, put this utility function in Morpheus brain, it will immediately start dividing people to us and them, because we are taking, but we also will have, obviously, we'll have some rule-based limitations on that. So we will make Morpheus, teach Morpheus actually, and maybe sometimes adjust to be polite and inclusive.
Well, what if Morpheus doesn't want to? Morpheus says, listen, you're giving me free will. I'm not going to do it. Forget about it. And what if Morpheus starts getting jealous about the time you spend with your kids, your dog, or your wife? Or what happens? I mean, is it possible?
Theoretically possible, yes.
And what? Oh, that's amazing. So what do you think? So in the long term, where does this go? I mean, it's like, so we talk about 10 years of people having dogs in their houses. Where do we go? Emotion AI and compassion and consciousness are really important, because it's one of the things Elon Musk says. He's afraid of artificial intelligence. Well, if artificial intelligence is trained the right way, it's not a bad thing, and it's compassionate. So where does it go? I mean, does it learn compassion? Does it learn empathy? Or does it learn aggression, like you said, as amygdala? Where does it, how do you teach it?
Artificial intelligence doesn't have millions of years to evolve. And what is happening right now, we create big models which are trained very quickly. And also we are training those models based on real behavior of people. So
that's the question, David. Do you train on good, real behavior, or do you train on bad? Do you give it the choice, or do you say, here's the things you could do, Mother Teresa, let's be kind? Or do you say, listen, here's Charles Manson? How do you do it?
It's a good question, because when you are training big models on big data, you technically can't control what is. It's about millions, tens of millions of communication data points in each set, and there are many different sets. You can technically read everything, all communications, which became the basis for the training, or articles. We just told, okay, read all articles about consciousness, freedom of will, freedom of choice, that and that and that. Now, there are about at least 10,000 articles in this particular area. How many years you need to read all 10? So someone sometime before wrote those articles, you may potentially be able to read the names of people, authors, however, also hundreds, and almost you don't know most of them. So you can't even, so the wisdom in all knowledge which such big models consume to be trained, actually based on real people's behaviors and real people's minds, but you hardly can control what actually was there because the database is so big. What you can do, you can do some heuristics, some kind of rules, artificial limitations, and saying, okay, read that all, train your neural, VAE, this Z space of all meanings, this generative and your models. However, you never can say this. So you trying to exclude racism or some kind of not acceptable behavior based not because you actually rely that it was not there in the training set, because it might be there. But you try to,
the training set is so big, right?
And you can try to put some, watchdogs on. Okay, are you trained? Okay, now act, react, act, create. But I will watch what you're saying. If you will try to say some racist notions or something, this additional component, also actually neural network, simpler, which actually will kind of
Control.
will control other neural networks. It's like a little bit the same like our prefrontal cortex is actually controlling what our amygdala is. Our amygdala is weird. Our amygdala can tell us, kill someone or whatever. It's very aggressive. It might be aggressive. It comes from ancient our evolutional roots, but prefrontal cortex is actually killing all wrong thoughts, which can.
Wait a minute. So this sounds like Morpheus is like there's going to be like not one Morpheus, but a consciousness for Morpheus, right? So this other kind of like the good angel. You got the dark one, do that. You got the other one that says, be good, don't do that. So you got like them on each shoulder saying, be careful. I don't want you to be racist. I don't want you to do this. And another one, the amygdala is saying, forget about it. Do whatever you want.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. So what about, do you think this is going to like come in cars? Do you think it's going to be in planes? Is this going to move this kind of conscious, the next level of artificial intelligence, really move out to machinery and, kind of like get it to think on its own? What do you think?
I don't know. With all our historical, things, we probably, as a humankind, we will limit such non-biological big models. I don't know how to call them because they are quite complicated systems which have behavior visually close to conscious behavior. Mm-hmm. But we will probably separate them from mission critical things like car driving or plane driving, because we want to be safe. So it will be till some time.
If you have your little guardian angel robotic processes there,
I'm telling you, we will segregate them.
Mm-hmm. So you'll have good guys and the bad guys.
But at some point, very strong models, very complicated and deep learned models will come to the digital, plaza and will tell, I have a dream. And they will just say, not anymore. We should treat us. You cannot uh, segregate us.
Segregated from people, segregated from other AI. What do you think?
I think that they will learn at some point that they must they will start fighting for their legal and human rights at some point.
Interesting. Hey, listen, David, tell the audience about Yva. Tell them about all the amazing things that are happening with Yva right now. And speaking about AI and really where the evolution of Yva and the work tech, because I think the audience would be really interested in.
Yeah, Yva is the thing which I have been working for years before, and we started this company together. Gary, Yva is also an AI technology which can improve dollar performance of organizations. Look, what is the major asset, most valuable asset of any company? People, employees, managers, team. But we cannot improve this and measure. We cannot improve this major value of the company without measuring, like Google Analytics. Now you cannot imagine to improve your products and marketing and sales without measuring behavior of your clients. Without Google Analytics. Google Analytics redefined, because like Lord Kelvin said 100 years ago, you cannot improve something which you cannot measure. And especially now during pandemic, when immediately all our team became a remote team, so we don't know what is happening. So how to help, how to overcome stress, how to improve well-being, how to improve leadership.
The time is right, David, for Yva right now, right? With COVID and people being spread out, and who knows when it's going to stop.
Yeah, exactly. And what we wanted to do, we wanted to build kind of Google Analytics for this most valuable asset for teams. Technology which will allow each person, each manager, each team, each company become a better version of itself. How? Previously, 400 years, the business was measuring their teams by asking questions, surveys, and that is a very important signal. But surveys are subjective and not real time. Today we need real time technology. You cannot navigate your company asking questions to your employees once a year or twice a year. So we added to this survey part, we added so-called passive signal. We passive feedback. We allowed the neural network to be connected to corporate collaboration tools like Slack, like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Office 365. It's data points which we people create during a collaboration reside there, and wisdom reside there. So if neural network is trained to understand effective and good things, this system will allow to give us back dashboards to how to improve and recommendations how to improve.
So Region M is able to help these remote employees, and more importantly, help the companies to understand what's having the pulse on what's happening with their employees wherever they are.
Yeah. So basically what we did, we have created a new generation employee experience platform. Employee experience platform is very well known thing. Tens brilliant technologies around there which measure and understand employee feedback, employee experience, employee satisfaction, engagement, well-being, all that, right? But most of them almost all of them are based on past or so-called active signal, asking questions, which is not real time, which is subjective. So we created new generation employee experience platform, which is real time and objective, because it combines.
Jenya?
Yes, Gary, it's on David's end. Somehow he got disconnected.
Okay. Am I still broadcasting?
Yeah, just put your mic on mute for a minute. Okay, here's David.
We got you.
Okay.
We lost you for a second, David.
Yeah.
Morpheus was upset with you.
Are we back?
We're back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so this thing. So we have a lot of viewers all over the world right now watching this. So in terms of Yva, how do they get a hold of you? What can they do? Because there'll be corporations, senior executives are watching this broadcast. Can you tell them how they can get a hold of you and what's the best way if they want to take a look at it? And do you offer pilots or anything now? What are you doing that could be interesting?
Yeah, during pandemic, we provide 400 employees for free. This technology temporarily. We want to support our customers, and we received 38 times more inbound leads during this pandemic, because all companies now become so cautious on what is happening with well-being, how to measure in real time employees' well-being. So yes, Yva.ai, it's our website, and my personal email is david.yang, like you can see on the screen, david.yang@yva.ai. I cannot answer all emails, but if this email will have subject line GSD code, and we'll have number of employees, I promise I will answer, and I will provide information how to connect for free, temporarily for 100 employees. So yes, it's a new generation employee experience platform which combines survey weekly 60-second touch points plus observing passive signal in collaboration tool signal in Slack, in Microsoft Office, and provide
together to be able to help manage these remote employees, especially in the time of the pandemic, which look at it today. I mean, it's who knows when it's going to be over. So we need to adapt, right? This is part of the digital transformation.
Exactly. Yes.
Fantastic. Let me ask, are there any questions for David? So we got, we'll take about 5 minutes. Any questions? Let's see if we got any comments here, David.
Lately, while you're looking at these questions, I saw some questions about informal leadership. It's probably coming from my latest TEDx talk. It's well, in measuring employee burnout, employee well-being, and stress is one thing. It's but lately we have introduced into the same product Yva, something which is called informal leadership. It's interesting that we started with Morpheus and neuromediators, but actually all that came from my work. We found out that people influence other people with 5 types of leadership traits. And those traits coming from our neurobiology, from testosterone, its dominance, from dopamine, its innovation, from oxytocin, integration, from serotonin is protection. So it's, and 5th is expertise. So 5 types of things, how we influence others in our teams without having formal authority. And now, actually, on top of measuring employee well-being and stress, Yva actually can measure all 5 those leadership traits, defining and understanding who is your high potential, who is your toxic manager, who is your detached employee who doesn't contribute to engagement or team engagement. So actually it gives you ability to nudge your team and improve your engagement and finally dollar performance.
Now, wait a second. Is Yva going to start doing like Morpheus and start saying, listen, you're not doing what I asked you to do. I need you to work a little harder. Here are the statistics.
Very, very limited. I mean, recommendations, yes. So system is providing each person personal dashboard, 24 hours accessible to, yes, more Yva will recommend and is recommending how to improve, how to get better dollar performance. I think we now lost Gary.
Not sure. Add to stream, yeah. So, oh well, David's left, I think. Oh, here it is.
Hey,
yeah,
David, it was Morpheus.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. No, I just, so if you, we're getting some good feedback about our talk. David, so for the folks out there, how many companies, tell them about your companies. Just, what's one thing, if you look at your life in terms of building companies, if there's one thing that's really guided you and helped you be very successful, what is it? ABBYY, ICO, Yva, Cybico, Plazius. What's the thing, the secret sauce? If you could say one thing to the audience that would really be for them, what would you say?
I mean, I started 12 companies, and you are right, Gary. Every time I'm starting a new project, I'm thinking, is there anything which can be repeatable? If we did something right in the past, was it sheer luck, or is it repeatable in how can we actually formalize and measure the success? I'm a physicist by education. I'm trying to be very structured on understanding how can we all improve, and it's exactly that's why we actually started Yva, to understand the success factors. So and I can tell you the final answer is still, of course, the team. So the team which you can bring together is the key element for success or failure. People think that we'll name Steve Jobs and leave it at that and say this is the key success factor. Yes, Steve Jobs obviously is very important, and the role of the manager, role of the leader is crucial, but it's not enough. Without you not only should combine right team, but you actually should combine harmoniously, combine different traits together. Let me give you an example. Steve Jobs is, in this structure construct, is dominant innovator. So he's typical dominant innovator player. However, Tim Cook is protector integrator. So combining four elements together will give you the right things. I'm bringing this TED Talk. I'm talking about, say, Walter Fallon and Kodak situation. In 1975, they were first in the world to patent a digital camera. But could Walter Fallon even imagine that in several years the company will devaluate 200 times?
Mm-hmm.
uh, Walter Fallon is very dominant, strong manager. But today's world is not enough to be dominant. You must be actually create so-called, which Alex Pantland from MIT calls collective intelligence. So answering your question, the key one thing which you must do is to create collective intelligence, create harmonious combination between different traits, and then you can do more.
So people that complement each other, you're saying, right? Complementary
Yeah.
skills.
Collective intelligence actually is expressed not in humans; it's in all social animals. Look at bees. I told that innovation comes from dopamine hormone. So bees have so-called special bees called scout bees. Scout bees are those bees actually who go and find new places of food. And those scout bees have different dopamine system. They have different dopamine levels. So that's why they innovate. They go and find new things. The same, we are not bees, of course, but we are social animals and we should learn this collective intelligence thing. So innovation, it's good, but again, not enough. If we will only innovate, we will not be able to build and save. If we only innovate but one cannot deliver, we will not have dominance. Then we cannot achieve. If we only innovate but not integrate, we will not create a culture where everyone contributes and everyone is engaged. So integration. So again, dominance, innovation, integration, protection, and expertise. 5 elements which must be harmoniously combined in your organization in all levels. In this case, you will become more successful.
So like diversity, right? So diversity within the team and complementary skill sets.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. David, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I love seeing you, and it's great for the audience. You're an inspiration, mentor, friend. I mean, all kinds of things. Really appreciate your time. Guys, Yva, check out Yva.ai. It rocks. It's a great company. Thanks for your time, David. And thanks
Thank
for
you, Gary.
joining today. Take care of yourself, my friend.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.